Approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you. It's been approved and seconded. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
7-0. Passes 7-0. The mission of USD 49 is to provide a quality learning experience for every student in every classroom every day. To support the mission of the district, the USD 49 Board of Education includes supporting a vision that encompasses high student achievement, highly effective staff, effective and positive communications, and effective management of resources. Consent agenda.
Mr. President. In your consent agenda, you will have 5 minutes from Wilson. You have a contract for adding power electrical services to O'Loughlin. This is for $66,600. This is what we have done at Roosevelt prior to starting construction there, as well as at the high school. This is just part of the process to get power for the additional places that will be added to the site. You will also have, you have a resolution in front of you on the consent. This is just, once again, a resolution that you're just letting everyone know you're notifying the legislature that you have approved the sale of Lincoln Elementary. Like we've talked about numerous times, this is just a process that we have to go through. We could hear back from them after we notify them, or they don't notify us within 45 days. Once again, we still have plenty of time to, as the closing date is October 1st, so we got plenty of time. No rush on this, but we do need to get the resolution passed so we can notify the legislature. In your personnel transactions, you have several of just employment and resignations, but I do want to highlight one retirement that is on there. Lance Cranwitter, retiring at the end of the year. He is the Hayes High School Assistant Principal, Athletic Director. Lance has 32 years of total in education. He has been at Hayes High for the last 7. During his time in education, he's taught for 2.5 years in Peace Corps in Tanzania and East Africa. He also taught for 3 years in Seoul, Korea. During his time as the athletic director, he was instrumental in helping girls wrestling get started at Hayes High. Also started a home tournament for Hayes High wrestlers, girl wrestlers. So that's been very successful. He also was instrumental in helping Unified Interscholastic Bowling get started in 2023 at Hayes High, which has been a huge success. Also, during his time as athletic director, started an 8-team varsity volleyball tournament. It's our preseason tournament. It's a neat, very successful tournament. During his time at Hayes High, he's been, as the athletic director, we've had 5 state top 3 finishes. Unified Bowling got second in 2024. Our football team finished second state this year. Girls golf is finished second in 2022, 2023, and baseball finished in first place in 2021. During his time as athletic director, he's overseen 27 WAC championships, which has been a pretty successful period in Hayes High athletics. And the big news is last year was the WAC Cup, the first ever in school history that Hayes High has ever won the WAC Cup. So just want to congratulate Lance on a fine career and thank him for his time. Financials?
Couple things. One, at the last meeting, there was a question. I thought the question was about MHIT, mental health grant. We use the term wraparound with that. The question, I think, after going back, the question was actually about 4-year-old wraparound services. That is a part of the early childhood block grant. So it's a part of early childhood funding. The money comes in under the ECGB and gets transferred to Fund 11, which is 4-year-old at risk. So it's another just funding source for our early childhood services at ECC. The other thing I'd give an update on, we've had some conversation about having lines staked by other people. I had assumed, again, that we've had some people out with for various reasons. So I assumed it was always just because we were short-staffed or it was in a hurry. Come to find out, we have a small stake to do urinals and water fountains and things like that. We do not have a large, the bigger snake for the main lines. They're pricing one right now. It'll be about $10,000, but we will begin being able to snake bigger lines as we go. And again, just a reminder on any of those things, if you've got questions, never hesitate to call, email. Apologize for providing the wrong answer to the right question or right answer to the wrong question, however. But so update on those. And then the last thing I'd give an update on, we are wrapping up the KSDE audit right now. So I think we sent the last stuff in this afternoon. So we will have, sometime in the next month or so, we'll have what's called our audited legal max. So if you remember, way back in the beginning, when we publish our budget, we are publishing our published legal max at that point. So we're estimating how many kids we're going to have, what all of the weightings are going to be, what our funding is going to be. Then we go through the September 20th date, and we report on our September 20th numbers through the SO 66, the Superintendent's Organization Report. At that point, we have an unaudited legal max, so we do budgeted adjustments and corrections for any changes that might come from there. Right now, we're finishing up our KSDE audit, so we'll get our audited number. We'll do our, again, budget readjustments to make sure we are within our spending authority, as well as within our legal max, what our funding is. In June, the first part of June, is when we get finally our final legal max. So we're still doing projections and still making adjustments as we go. And we don't finish that process for this year until the first part of June for fiscal year ending June 30th. As that is going on, we're well into budget prep for FY26. One of the first things that'll fall in line for FY26 is our property and casualty insurance, our P&C. As you know, we're a member of the Kansas Insurance Cooperative for Schools, the KICS. It used to be called CARP, it's now KICS. But it is now 149 school districts across the state with over $14.5 billion in insured assets. A cooperative isn't quite the same as purchasing insurance on the market from a carrier. It's more of a commitment, more of a long-term commitment. And there are times when, we've had larger increases when we had a couple of hail storms in a row, and when we had some other events. But by being a part of the cooperative, we're not at risk of being dropped. And we haven't been moved to, and not at risk of being moved to percent deductibles, which is what a lot of, if you're on the individual market right now at schools, most of them are seeing percent deductibles. So it's been a very successful venture. We were Hayes, and I say I wasn't in this year, none of you were in that year, but Hayes is one of the founding members of the cooperative. And to see it grow from 10 members 10 years ago to 149 right now, with more applying every month to become part of the pool, it has some pretty significant purchasing power. Over the last year, our renewal was flat. When that wasn't the case on the individual market. This year, we are budgeting. We've gotten word to budget a 3 to 5% increase, which, again, on the districts that I talked to on the individual market right now are seeing more like 30 to 40% increases. But we're budgeting a 3 to 5, And the good news is, if the cooperative makes it through the spring without a tornado in Andover or a huge hailstorm in Hayes or something like that, it's trending towards, thank you, everybody at one time. But it is trending actually to be a lot closer to flat than even 5%. But they bake in stuff in the springtime that isn't there. So that is coming together nicely as far as the budget prep. The next thing that'll come in, fall into place will be our health insurance renewal. We are getting close to having that. I think within the next month. We've actually got an insurance committee meeting later this week where we'll hear how utilization has gone for first quarter of our plan year, which is July 1 is our plan year also. So we'll get information on that, and then shortly behind that we should be getting renewal offer for our health insurance also. So that is all I've got.
Okay, thank you.
I make the motion that we approve the consent agenda as is.
Mr. President,
Hold on. Been moved. Jamie seconded it. Ken made the motion. Okay, Mr. Park.
there's 4 items I'd like to remove out of the consent agenda. 2.2 financials, 2.4 contract.
Whoa. 2 point what?
2.2 is site council minutes.
2.2 is site council.
Okay, on the copy I have, it's financials.
Okay, financials is 2.6. Okay, what else?
Contract for the services of Laughlin, I have 2.4.
That's 2.3.
Okay,
Okay,
and then the legislature for Lincoln Elementary.
that's 2.4.
Okay, and then personnel transactions, 2.5.
That's 2.5. Jess, 2.3, 2.4. Oh, yes, ma'am. 2.3 is contact for, that's the wrong one. You
You're right.
You want contract for electrical services?
Yeah. Contract for electric
Or
service.
services of Laughlin Elementary?
Yeah, I have financials and the Laughlin electric service.
Okay, so then you need 2.4, the notice to Kansas legislators.
For the sale of Lincoln.
Okay, and what's the last one?
2.5, personnel transactions.
Okay, now everyone will need to refresh.
Is there anybody else? Is that all? Okay.
What that leave in?
That leaves site council minutes and minutes from last meeting.
Like two. Okay, you got, so consent agenda consists of board meeting minutes, site council minutes, or the two?
And the person that made the motion first,
Me?
and who's,
Ken and Jamie second.
sorry, I didn't.
No, you're fine, thank you.
Okay,
We good, Jess?
now you can vote.
Okay, all those in favor, vote yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no.
No.
That passes 6-1.
Passes 6-1. Next up on the agenda is public comment. Is there anybody wanting to speak? Okay, we shall move on. Next is 4.1, Superintendent's Report.
Yeah, just a few things. Bond update, things at Hayes High are looking, going along really well. Really some areas that are really starting to take shape that are pretty exciting. The auditorium they have added the mezzanine, and as far as the stage area, it's really starting to come together. It's looking really good. Added a lot of drywall. I don't know if we're 50% of drywall up, but quite a bit. Rooms are really starting to take shape, even in some areas in Area A, which is the very first area that they started. Even we got epoxy down on the floors, so that's pretty exciting. So once again, board members, if there is, if you want to get out there and see it, just let me know. We'll schedule a time to take you out there. Just a quick update on the federal funding freeze. I kind of gave you a timeline in the board packet. It all gave us a little bit of a hard moment. A week ago Monday when we saw that, because we received, we need the ability to draw down those funds. And so and I won't go through the whole timeline, but basically at this point, we're just still operating under the premise that we will have no issues with drawing down federal funds for things like special education, child nutrition services, Head Start funds, title funds, whatever else that may encompass. There was supposed to be a hearing today to clarify all this. I don't know how that all worked out. Just a little update. I think we're okay at this point, unless things have changed. Just also wanted to update the board a little bit as we're working on this board docs, kind of giving you a timeline now as to when you can expect to be using the new software platform for board meetings. They have migrated all our information from board docs to the new platform, so it's all there. We had a kickoff meeting to get this started. That was last week. We've been on, I think, about 3 trainings already, and just trying, and it's really more for us. It's about the people who are using it on the back end. You will get the opportunity to, and we'll talk about here in a second. The last March 24th meeting, here's what we're going to do is we're going to still use board docs on March 24th. We're also going to give you the opportunity to see Diligent Community. And I'm not sure exactly how it's all going to work, but that's the plan is. Kind of soft launch, you give you the opportunity to work it at that meeting, although it's not necessarily the one we'll be using. And then pretty much after that meeting, board docs will kind of be set to just only read only. We'll be able to still go back and look at stuff, even though all the information is loaded in the new platform. And our April 4th is our first meeting where we will be using Diligent. So just want to give you a timeline there. And also just a quick congratulations to Ruth. Ruth last week was recognized as the Chamber Businesswoman of the Year. Great, congratulations.
That's a great deal, Ruth. I mean, Ruth serves on the Hayes Rec Commission, Women Who Lead. She's a chamber ambassador. I mean, she just does it all. So, thanks for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Next is action discussion items. The 5.1, stock supply of emergency medication. Jessica Rowe, District Lead Nurse.
Yeah, I think this, I just asked Jessica to come to this meeting to talk about the policy that we talked about last meeting that we, since did not approve. I was a little nervous when I looked back there because I didn't see Jessica hiding in the corner, and I thought she had stiffed me. But, yeah, she showed up, so.
She was here early.
Be gentle on her, please.
She was here early.
I guess I'm here to answer questions about it.
So I guess my main question is, because it doesn't say that you have to do that. It doesn't say, like, the stock supply of emergency medication, or it doesn't say that you have to stock it. It says that you may. And do you not see a point at which that could be useful, or where you will want to seek permission for this?
At this time, no. I just think right now we do keep Benadryl at all of the schools. Most of the plans that we get for kids who have EpiPens all say to give the Benadryl first. Our EMS has a quick response time. I think that if we, start stocking it, we will see it go to waste and not use it, because we'll give the Benadryl, call it at EMS, and never end up even giving it. So.
Okay. And I mean, the Benadryl on hand is included elsewhere in policy, and, because that's an over-the-counter
We
medicine.
stock like ibuprofen and Tylenol as like with the other medication.
Specifically delineated elsewhere, okay. Just,
Have we stocked EpiPens before?
No,
Okay. But does it, if a kid has it or prescribed to it, do they have one in their, or is it always just on them? Because I had students that had it, but before I would take them on a trip, I always made them show it to me.
it's parent and student preference, so we keep, I mean, at the high school level, a lot of them want to keep it with them because they do take a lot of trips. Elementary and middle school, a lot of them keep it with the nurse, and then they get a list of field trips and make sure it's in the bag.
Okay.
Same with inhalers.
Okay.
How often have we had to use them?
I have not had to give one to any student. I'm not aware of any of the nurses that have had to give them.
And does the EMS, you said EMS has a quick response time, do they stock the EpiPens on their truck?
They do.
I guess just because we didn't adopt either one of them, so we're just going back to the default, which like medications that they get from home that's over the counter, parents still need to write a note saying that it's okay for them to take them, since we're not making any changes to the policies. Is that my understanding?
Have we checked with KSB and see their, I mean, that's their recommendation. And usually they make changes or recommendations based on what's happened in the state legislature the year before.
I have not.
So do we know why that recommendation was to do this, but we're
It
not?
was because of legislation that allowed schools to stockpile. That was never been able to do that before. So it is due to legislation. But once again, anytime when they set recommended policies, it is totally your, desire whether you want to approve or not approve. So it's totally up to you.
And I agree with Megan. It's more of a, you can if you want to, instead of a, hey, you ought to do this. I guess the kids that have a known allergy and known anaphylaxis is one thing. Kids that get stung by a wasp or something, first time exposure, they could fall out. I guess we're lucky we haven't had anything major yet, but I don't see the cost as being prohibitive, but again, at the same time, I don't see it's absolutely necessary either.
Do you have any other questions for Jessica? Seeing none, thank you very much. So are we good with that then? Alrighty. 5.2, contract extensions, building administrators.
Yeah, you just have in your packet the names of all the administrators who are up for extension. Once again, this is adding the additional year, so they would be for the next 2 years. This goes through 26, 27. And we have those write-ups.
I have a quick question. Lance Cranwinter's spot, then that'll be open quickly?
We'll advertise it tomorrow, probably. Well, I shouldn't say tomorrow,
But soon? Okay, all right. Do you have any questions, comments?
I make a motion to approve all building level administrator contract extensions 1 year through 2026-27 school year.
Second it.
It has been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing no other discussion, we shall vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed say no.
You did write really good little blurbs about them. I enjoyed reading them. Good job.
7-0, Jess?
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next is 5.3, 5-year capital outlay review.
Okay, this is something that we try to do to get in front of the board just to kind of keep you in the loop of the projects that we are planning for this year and the next several years out. Once again, this is not an action-related item for the board. This is only informational, give you a chance to discuss and ask questions. Before I begin kind of going through the first part of this, I think it's important that you understand, as we have been building this for the last 5 years, This was planned, knowing that we were going to get to the year where we will be moving into some new buildings. Well, we started kind of last fall, but we'll start now. And so we have to look at our historical revenues. We have been building some of this, so we knew that we would be needing to spend money. And I think we have a really good plan in place. We have the revenue to do these things. And I think it's also important to note that we have been renting a lot of facilities for a lot of years, and we are going to own our own new facilities, and we don't have some of this stuff. So there was always going to be a cost. It's like I use the analogy, if you've been renting a house, there was a refrigerator and a washer and a dryer in that house, and you now go and move into a house or build a new house, and they don't have the refrigerator or the washer or dryer, you're going to have to buy your own. And that's really what we talked about, some of our athletic facilities. That's really what is going to happen. So that's why we have been building, knowing that some of this stuff will need to get taken place during the next couple of years. Just to go through that first column, just working that debt services, that is something that's all our leases that are out there. Of course, ECC, the Roosevelt HVAC project, as well as when we added turf to the field out of Hayes High. We also we put lights, and we did some office work out of Wilson, as well as O'Loughlin. And then, of course, you've started to see now the fleet payment with Enterprise. This year, we won't probably see much of anything, but as the years go on, we'll start to see some payments that we'll have to make there. And once again, if you have questions, we'll try to answer them. The operations is, once again, those are just kind of our budget amounts that we have for transportation, technology, food service, buildings and grounds, and also as well as any construction equipment. District-wide, we've also started this where we have some miscellaneous unscheduled renovation, repair, things that just pop up out of the blue that we're not expecting, and we have about 200,000 scheduled each year for that. We also put in some sidewalk repair. We have some sidewalks that get raised or just are in bad shape, and we've got a little money set aside each year to do that. As well as the lock conversions that we've been doing. You guys have improved quite a few of those already. We're very close. We'll finish it out this year and as well as some on next year to finish those out. We'll have the entire district on the same lock system. For the most part, almost all. Getting into New Hayes High, this is the new building. Of course, the 13th Street improvements, you have already approved that. The work has started on the bridge out there, but you will also see some work this summer. But that's our payment that will be part of that. The residential appliances, we have set some money aside there, only because as we move to the new building, there might be some appliances that we say, okay, this probably isn't worth it. And I'm talking small stuff. Could be a refrigerator in a science room that maybe has just been there forever, and it's probably not worth trying to move.
You can say stove. There's several stoves for science.
We don't really know yet, but we have a little money set aside for those possibilities. Athletic training room equipment. This is more like tables for trainers to work on athletes, as well as taping and whatever things that they need to do. So we have some money established for that. A kiln, as we move over to the new Hayes High, there is a kiln room built inside of the art room. We have an outside kiln right now that is at Hayes High. It's a gas kiln. We won't be able to move that over to the new Hayes High, so they will need to have another kiln. So that kiln will remain at the middle school and will be utilized by the middle school, as well as if I talked to Grace at the high school, and she said at some point she might come over to the middle school to use it because it's gas fired. Gives you a little different effect than the electric kiln. we can do a few more things that kill. Of course, tennis courts, we've been talking about that. We've approved the design, and the design is out and is finished. We have a price back of $665 to do the tennis courts. That would finish. It would put the 4 other courts right next to the current 4 courts. We would also include renovating, resurfacing the 4 courts that are there. So, and that is something that we'll need to get moving on here fairly soon.
And that includes that price, Ron, you said?
That's the bid price.
Okay.
The competition scoreboards, this includes a football scoreboard, video board at the new field. This also includes 2 scoreboards, 2 video boards, which will be inside the gymnasiums. The plan will be is we will have 1 video scoreboard inside the main gym, and we would have 1 video board scoreboard inside the auxiliary gym at Hayes High. It also includes with this scoreboard for the softball field that has been built, but it doesn't have a scoreboard.
So does this doesn't include like sound system or anything? Is that already in
Sound
the
system
bond?
is part of the bond.
Part of the bond, so
Part
that's
of the
taken
bond.
care of.
It's good. It's all good. Score tables, that is the score tables, plural. 60,000 that we have there. Once again, that is probably 2 score tables, 1 for the main gym, 1 for the auxiliary gym.
Just 2.
2 score tables. Wrestling mats, once again, we have went from 1 wrestling room to now to have 2 wrestling rooms, and so we don't have mats. This is for 2 mats. We will need 3, but we have been having conversations with Hayes Kids Club. They have talked to me about the possibility of maybe helping with some of that. I'm not trying to put that on that they have to pay for that. They have talked to me already about that possibility. So this is actually just the 2 mats. The digital marquee, this is a digital sign, digital sign that would go out on 13th Street. And we'd place it somewhere in between Hayes Middle and Hayes High. It's a great way for us to get our message out of all the great things. And understand, 13th Street is going to be a very busy street. And middle school parents and high school parents will both have to pass that sign to get their kids into the school. So it will be highly visible and a great way for us to just tell our story. When you get to Hayes High, that will be converted to Hayes Middle next year. Here in January, we have set aside money for student lockers and just painting and refreshing those lockers. We've set aside $75,000 to get that done. That is not a bid, but that's just an estimate that we think will take care of that. They're in fairly good shape. It's just some painting and a few repairs. The bathrooms and concessions, you have already approved that as a board. That work has been started, and they've got the pad laid out. Glazing, this is just simply the windows at Hayes High, they leak quite a bit. And so this would just be adding glazing, and this work will be done in the summer.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
When you say Hayes High, the current Hayes High, correct, not the new?
Well, I'm just going to my building.
It'll be the middle school.
Yep. It will be Hayes Middle.
Yes.
We also have set aside $150,000 for a middle school remodel. This is for all the areas that will not be touched by the bond. Some of the areas that we have identified that we just feel like we need to, very simply, it would be converting some locker room space into a bathroom for girls and boys, down closer to what we call the E building. Just taking one locker room and converting that into bathrooms. The majority of the work will be done by our buildings and grounds. Some of it we will have to contract out, some of the plumbing and the sets and fixtures and things like that. The plan would be to have our crew do most of the work. Also would include the multi-purpose room, turning that into 2 classrooms. So that would be building a wall and maybe adding a doorway. I'm not sure about
That's the old weight room where they use it now for the, okay.
That would also include, draw a blank now. What's the other thing? I got it on the tip. Yeah, it's right here. If I remember.
The lab area over by the band area, doing some adjustment on some of the room size to.
Well, that'll be bond work.
Is it turn the bathrooms in the gym?
Was it the coach's office between the two?
Oh, that's what it is. It's the locker rooms. We'll be reconfiguring some of the locker rooms, adding some coaches' offices so that the PE instructors can see 2 locker rooms and reconfigure that. We really feel like we can get it done for probably less than $150,000 because our crew will be doing it. The good thing is we will have the whole next semester to do it. It's not like we're on a tight compressed, so we really feel like that'll be beneficial. Also, the wood shop, which is currently the metal shop at Hayside, doesn't have a dust collection system, so we need to purchase a dust collection system for $20,000. That's an actual number, fairly close. And also, we would be installing it with some of our people. Mr. Moritz and Mr. Markoff, and we're both tech teachers in the district, have indicated they will be willing. So that is at Felton, which is now currently Hayes Middle, but will become Felton. We just have to do a small roof replacement in the music room area. That's for $30,000. It's probably our worst roof right now. We have to do some asbestos removal at O'Loughlin, as well as some work, just some glazing, some grass seeding. I think grass seeding is already done as well out there for the play area. We're hopeful that it will take off, but if it doesn't, we might need to add some more seeding. That's a chance there too. So I think if I want to go flip over, I should have done. I'm not going to go through every column. But
Mr. Wilson, can we ask questions or comments about this one before we?
Yep.
And if we just go from left to right, and if somebody already asked it, that would be fine. Ken, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have anything.
Jamie?
Nope.
I guess my question is as far as like making decisions on what we need to spend money on. Comparing the capital outlay they got here today versus the one that was given last year. I'm sorry. And I know it's a fluid document. Things are moving. But what you had for 24-25 last year predicted was $665,000, and now it's $2.4 million. And then for the current Hays High, which will be the middle school, there's no money allotted for anything. And now it's $1 million. So like trying to plan anything out, we are $2.8 million higher on those 2 buildings on this capital outlay compared to the one that was presented last year. I mean, it seems like we have no budget.
Yeah, if the budget, we do have a budget. I didn't get into it. I'll let Chris go through that. We do have a budget. We have plenty of revenue to do all these projects and still have adequate revenue remaining in our reserves. Sometimes it is difficult to do a year projection, and it's really sometimes tough to project out 5 years, but we do our best to try. And the thing is, as things we figure out more and more about what our needs are as we get closer to moving into buildings, we have a better idea, and also can give you some more accurate pricing on things.
Well, I get being off 10-20%, but you're off 400%.
Yeah, I don't know about last year. I mean, Chris and I have put a lot of hours into this and talked to a lot of people, and we feel like this really gives all of our students and staff everything that they would need to have success in the classroom and on the athletic fields.
Okay. I guess, like the electronic lock conversion, It had been listed out for $200,000 a year up through 2025, 2026, and now it's down to 60. Like, wasn't that a solid cost, or does that just depend on how many doors we had?
Well, yeah, we're just still, it's always dependent on sometimes how much we get done. And I think the thing is, we got more done last year than we thought we were going to get done, so that's why that adjustment.
Some of that was moved in as part of the bond too, just because of the way it played out. So.
Yeah, I guess my thought would be, is it really necessary for a $100,000 digital marquee when it could go to, other classroom stuff that needs to be done? And actually, I commend you for, using the staff to do some of these projects. I mean, doing a bathroom seems like it's more intense than moving walls like we had talked about, in the current high school prior. It's, impressive to me that we can do it now, but we could not back then.
It was, we were very, Rusty does a great job, and when he did some work, a lot of legwork to figure out, and through the design, we placed the bathrooms, and it's fortunate that it worked, very fortunate that the middle school thought that would also be a great spot, that the sewer line was right underneath where we wanted to place the bathroom, so we caught a huge break there. Because we won't have to probably be adding sewer lines in and cutting concrete. That would have gotten crazy.
Yeah, no, it's a good plan. It's just for the current Hayes Middle School. So current Hayes High School, it will be Hayes Middle School. Design fees were $500,000 for moving walls, basically. I mean, when we looked through what was actually being done there under the bond, not much in the way of structure, just kind of moving some walls.
But it's pretty expensive. I know you may not think it's still almost $4 million or $3 million.
Well, potentially, but you just told me that we could do like all this work for a bathroom for $150,000. Like, I understand we're going to pay that, a couple $1 million, but whether it's actually should cost that much, I guess is my point. I think that now that we're coming to the end of the money, kind of looking a little tighter on things, which I think is good. But I still think there's things on the capital outlay that are wants, not needs, and until like all the buildings are where they need to be, I don't know that I would, support some of the indulgences, like the marquee for one.
Okay. Mr. Wilson, on the turf and the lights, the debt services, could we label those the high school turf so we know which ones we're talking about? And then you answered my question about the tennis courts. That price is coming to us soon. Okay.
My question would be, Mr. Wilson, in regards to food service, it looks like that's the one that we're projecting goes up about $20,000 and then $15,000. Is that just cost of the food that you're looking at?
So this is the capital outlay portion, so it's equipment upgrades. Since 2020, there had been an influx of federal money into food service program, so we were able to pull back and use some of that food service money to replace and not have to use capital outlay money to do it. So it's basically, as that's fading away, that it's just getting back into the rotation of replacing some equipment every year so that we don't end up with all of our ovens are shot at one time.
Okay, and then when we look at staff, we don't look at it in an outlay, but do we review that? Because I still worry and get concerned about having a resource officer with the new high school eventually. Is that something that we need to project? I mean, do you look at that here, or do we look at that?
So that's not a part of this, because this is strictly the capital outlay conversation. That comes in more as we move next into like negotiations and staff planning and budgeting for next year.
Okay. And that's all I had. Thank you.
So when we get down that road, and I think it's a concern of mine as well as Ruth about when we were ready to move to both facilities out there about another resource officer, so I don't want that dropped either. So whenever we need to start discussing that.
And I understand we need to review that with the city as well, because that's where it comes from.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And
So
we've had, not formal conversations, but I think their concern is they have some other needs too, and I don't know if they want to add in more money to
Sure.
schools. That would be another, but
Okay.
we can definitely let them know that there is some interest on the side of the board to add that, possibly what that might look for them. If they just flat no, or they'd be willing to discuss it.
Okay.
Mr. Park?
Yes, where are the lease payments on that capital outlay? Are they listed in here at all?
That's the debt services.
This is the first four?
So the debt services, ECC, Roosevelt HVAC, Church Light, and Wilson and O'Loughlin HVAC, those are lease payments.
Okay, the lease payments, what about lease? Because we've added, you're talking about renting space, we're not renting for Hayes, but now the last 5 years we're renting.
So the rent to football field, things like that, those are all pieces within that operations. So they were some of the fixed costs for buildings and grounds.
So what about our leases from Hadley or that building?
Yeah, so they're
That's
not debt
like
services.
10,000?
Yeah.
Where's
So
that at?
Rent,
A month?
that comes out of the operations for buildings and grounds, so a part of that 430,000,
That comes out building the grounds?
yeah, comes out of capital outlay. We tag it against the function.
So it's in that, okay. Asbestos removal. We're doing that because we're disrupting it for the bond. So it's not part of their job to take care of that?
No, they
We're
don't.
taking
They
care?
haven't done it for any of the buildings that we've worked on. We've done all the asbestos removal, and they won't do that. That's all on us. And this is just, it's a fairly small project. Some pipe fittings, joints that come together that are surrounded with asbestos material, so just removing that.
Well, I see 33,000 and then what I saw 100,000 somewhere.
I think that's the only asbestos I see.
Yeah, it might be down.
Oh, 175,000 next.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for that next year.
Yeah, if you look at Hayes.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Haven't got to that yet, but
Okay.
a lot of hallway asbestos stuff.
Any more about the first column?
Well, I guess my other question that I was thinking of, technology that you have in there, that's upgrades, that's like security, everything?
That is, yeah, so that's the rotation of student device, staff device, network backend, all of that stuff is on about a 5-year rotation. So that's refreshing those through that rotation.
Okay. All right. Are you a summary of the next one? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm just going to do the next one. If you want to talk about the remaining 3, we can do that, but I'm
All right.
going to run through some of these. Just starting at New Hayes High, because all the other ones pretty much are exactly the same. The only thing that starts in 25-26 are that our preventive maintenance agreement with Glassman Corporation to come out and do preventive maintenance on all our HVAC. The board approved that contract last year.
And it looks like the fleet's starting then too.
Yeah, well, the fleet, your first big fleet payment will start.
And those are still really up in the air as we've been working on orders, getting that stuff in. We'll be able to finalize that one. That's one that will certainly change by the time we have the next update because we're still working off of the proposal, but now we're actually in the act of ordering the vehicles and everything else. So we don't know exactly when they're going to come in. So I don't know when we're going to, based on production schedule.
And that comes out of building the grounds?
It's in debt service.
It's up in the debt services.
Okay, at New Hayes High, the one thing, and once again, we have it in next year's budget for capital outlay, although it will probably be done this summer, but we won't need it until later in the school year, so we can kind of push this. Is that softball grandstand press box, and so the softball field is there, but we don't have, of course, a scoreboard, we don't have a press box, we don't have a grandstand. So for, what, $250,000 is what has been estimated, we can get that done. Also, the final draft seed, this is going in front of Hayes High. There's some, you've seen those big reservoir ditches. retention is the word, not reservoir, retention areas. And right now, it's just an annual ride or perennial ride or something. I don't know.
Annual ride.
Annual ride. So it's not going to last, but we want to go in and get some buffaloes seated in there. Buffalo's very expensive. We're going to go as far as about $140,000 it takes us. Hopefully it's far enough. That's very tough to estimate, but we think we're close with that. Over at Hayes Middle, at the game field, we want to add some grandstands and fencing. This is 2 small sections on either side of the main grandstand currently there. It's adding 2 small sections, as well as adding a small visitor section right beside the parking lot. And also then doing some fencing so we can have everything fenced in, including bleachers and as well as concession stand. So that's what that cost is. We did throw some dollars in for moving expenses, although that could also flip back and forth between Hayes High and Hayes Middle. It's not necessarily just one building. It's whatever. We have some we'll have we do plan to hire some moving help only for some of, probably not all the small things necessarily, but some of the bigger things. So we do have some money established there. So the signage update, this is just as we go into these new spaces, these new buildings. The front of the building right now is all Hayes High. And so we'll have to take down that signage and put new signage. So we've estimated $50,000 for that. Once again, we want to start any classrooms or those bathrooms at Hayes High that are in definite need of some TLC. We've set aside $200,000 to get those updated. Some furniture, primarily that furniture is just for some lunch tables as well as anything else they might need. As they move over to the bigger cafeteria, and we've looked at some kind of tables that Mr. Alvarez feels very good about. And then also we have to do some roof repairs there at the current Hayes High that will be Hayes Middle, which will be a fairly good project. We plan to do that during the first semester when that building is going to be vacated the first semester. At Hayes Middle, which will be Felton Elementary, we've set aside $150,000 for playground relocation upgrades. That is, once again, we're doing some estimating. Our goal is really, because the primary grades are going to be on the east end of the building, which is we call it the FEMA shelter. However, the logical place for the playground is on the west end, because we plan to utilize some of the asphalt in the parking lot as part of the hard surface for the playground, as well as some of that area that is just kind of a dirt for some of the soft play. So we're trying to, in a sense, what we'd like to do is have a primary playground and an upper grades playground. So we think that we have the equipment. This is not necessarily buying equipment. This would be some dirt work and seeding and whatever else we need to do to get those playgrounds established.
And how long is our playground equipment that you were transferring there, Ron? Good.
Well, we're transferring it from Wilson across the street, as well as then we will have some pieces from Lincoln that we could look at.
And so what's their age?
Well, I don't know.
Some of it, Wilson's.
Lincoln's is less than 7 years old. I think we won $150,000 towards that.
And some of the Wilsons is pretty young too.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a pretty good job. It's been a lot of our home school have helped, I think, and we do have some pretty good, I think, equipment. If anything is probably outdated, we probably won't move it. We might remove it, but we won't.
Because I didn't see it moving on, and which is why I questioned it, just because equipment, I'm working a project with the city right now, and playground equipment is anywhere from 20 to 100 grand for one piece of equipment.
We can blow through that
So
budget.
it's expensive.
If we bought one piece of equipment, we would blow through that budget.
Yeah, just like that. That's why I asked if any of it needed replaced. If it's
Yeah,
tired,
we're
that's
hoping we have the equipment, enough equipment to.
The good swing sets are in people's yards now. But you can fall off and die now.
As the upper grades.
You could get hurt on some of that old stuff.
And grassy areas, play soccer and whatever, those are the important things for the upper grades. Lower grades that really require the equipment.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Brooks, you got any questions?
I don't.
Nope. Anything about this summary?
Well, looks like more bond stuff.
Okay. I have two, Mr. Wilson. The softball, we're not playing there this year. Okay. The other one is furniture, the cafeteria tables and things that are in the Hayes High right now. They're going over, and so they not interested in the Sam's Club white tables.
Yeah.
All right.
You said the lease payments, all of the lease payments are currently in the buildings and grounds line? No.
Rent? Or
Yeah,
like
rent spaces.
Yeah, those payments are, yes, they're part of that buildings and grounds operations.
Including, and that's where the football field rental and
Yes,
athletic
all of
space
that
rental
came out.
comes from. So at one point, one of the selling points for a lot of these facilities, for me, was that could come down or start to come down. I know that we're going to have a larger and more buildings to maintain, or also inflation. So is that just that we haven't really examined that projection, or are we like looking at when those lease payments are going to, or rental payments are going to come out, they're going to be replaced by other costs, or do you understand my question? Am I being clear enough? Because it's okay if I'm not. I will try again.
So we're not renting the football field anymore, but we still go up from 430 to 450 in the operation.
That's basically what I'm asking.
So we're adding a lot of square footage. So it's probably a little bit of both. No, in those operations, the debt services are actual payments. The operations are, we set the budget based on last 5 years of expenditures plus some growth. So no, I didn't go in there and say, okay, well, we're not going to do 7,500 anymore. I didn't necessarily drop it down to that. We're just projecting overall cost. But I think your second half of that was probably pretty correct. As we add additional space, we're going to need more floor wax, whatever, right? Those kinds
More
of
carpet
things.
cleaner.
Yeah, and so there may be some offsetting there, but no, I haven't gone through it. In those operations, it's strictly year-over-year expenditures, because they do go up and down a little bit depending on the year. You know, if we have the next hailstorm, we have the deductible to pay, and that's coming out of that kind of stuff too. So there's some educated estimating going on in some of that.
Okay, thank you.
And that would be my question to you, Chris, like, especially since we have been 2 football fields over in that area to maintain, because will that be turf?
Yeah.
It will be turf?
Those will be turf. So some of that operations, we probably could see come down. One of the things that we'll probably see come down would be just electric bills and things like that, which is part of that operations as well. Even though we're at space, it's all LED. We've seen, as we've done LED light conversions, pretty significant savings from building to building. So, yeah, next year when we come back, we may be looking at some decreases there, but I don't know how to predict that part just yet.
Okay.
But square foot, we're increasing that, so our utility prices should expand a little bit. With the large spaces that we're heating and cooling.
And yes, they will. But again, what we've seen as we've done the HVAC upgrades throughout the district, we use twice as much gas to heat this building as we do Hayes High since the HVAC renovation. I mean, so yes, we're adding a bunch of square footage, but we're also taking offline Lincoln, this building, which are higher consumers. So I think, again,
You can't
you'll
map
see
it
some
yet.
adjustments as we do this, but I don't know how to, I don't
can't
know how to
map
go
it
ahead and
yet. Can't be
say
done.
exactly what that's going to look like just yet.
Well, with taking over the football games and stuff, we're going to have a lot more maintenance as far as cleaning the stadium, because we don't do that now. But we do provide security, so that's going to stay the same, basically. But lights and all that, we haven't paid, so that's going to...
There again, even with the upgrade at the baseball field, when we did the upgrade at the baseball field, we moved from the halogens to the LED lights, we see a pretty significant savings. The cost to run is significantly less.
Still gonna be cheaper than renting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But again, some of that may get offset in what we were paying for rent now, we'll have to clean up the fact that it's turf. With the next 10 years, we don't have a ton of expense. We have the groomer in place, and they do the grooming. Builders and grounds spends their time doing that, but it doesn't take the same amount of time as it does painting lines. And we don't have the electric bills and water pumps running and all of that stuff too. So again,
The ECC lease, or not payment, what year are we on? We have just a couple more years with that?
if you look and see in 27-28, that is our final payment.
That's 250,000 or a year, or what is that?
215,000 a year, 216.
Awesome.
I guess I'm sorry, I just noticed, as far as like going out 26, 27, for transportation, you have the fleet at 310,000, then transportation at 300. Is that still kind of
The transportation part is strictly buses. I feel good about that because we've got a rotation, and Russ and I have spent time looking at buses and saying, okay, these two are, now, you never know if one shoots craps, but looking at the bus rotation, I feel solid about that because that's actual buses we're looking at, guessing at what inflation's gonna be, but solid on those. Again, the fleet part, the white fleet, until we actually get them in and know when we start paying, and then that's what's going to start the clock on when we can get rid of them and break even, that number's going to change.
But yes,
that's a guess.
Sorry. In the past, it's been right around 300,000 a year, just for transportation year over year over year.
Right.
But you're expecting that to go up with some of the fleet from...
Yeah, I'm expecting to go up for that first window once we have all of our new white fleet in place, and before we start rotating them out and maximizing that return on the lease investment. Yes, there will be a place where we're basically purchasing the capital in it, and then after that, you're going to see the price go down significantly because we're using the capital in those vehicles to roll out to the next one.
Okay.
Our best sold at Purple Wave, and what did that end up?
I'd have to look. I don't know.
It's like 15,000, 10,000, it might have been 10,000.
Was that the head service?
Yeah.
That was 10,000.
10,000.
Okay.
And does that go back in capital outlay?
No, that goes back to, it will
Head
go
Start.
back into the lease payments.
Lease payment
When I
fund?
requested permission to sell that, I indicated in that it would go to our lease payments.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. 5.4 financials. Mr. Park.
Sure, yes, I have a few questions. One on the, I'll just go down the list.
Where are we going to, is it under list of bills, or do you know?
List, yeah, on the bills. On preparation for the audit, I noticed that's all broken out, and we've always done that. We broke it by department, and the main fund was general fund. Okay, and is that the same, or what, is that increased over the last year?
The cost of the audit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone up. I have to go back and look and
I
see.
know everything's going up, I'm just
Yeah.
curious what it is.
I can go find that out and then
Is it
report
like
back and place it.
20%, or did you recognize a big increase there? Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to try and guess. I have to go look it up.
Now, you mentioned about the, we're redoing board docs, but the annual fees on here, are we going to change that? Because you were going to come back and tell us about
It went up a couple $1,000.
it. It went up $2,000 from 2 to 4?
No, it's more than that. It's like 9 to 11 or something like that.
It's
Is
prorated.
this just a partial?
That's probably prorated for,
Because, yeah, we have.
because we're going to switch out.
Okay. So it's gone up substantial.
With, yeah, going to diligent, yeah.
And did you look at board books, what a lot of districts are using?
We did, we felt like diligent was more, it's really more meshed with board docs. They own board docs and they have created it's very similar to board docs. We feel like it doesn't
And we're going to be able to link up to the video. Is that correct, too?
We'll have to-
Have you already started the transition on that? Because I noticed some of the archives aren't in there anymore. Is that a reason?
Board docs?
Yeah.
They should be. They migrate stuff, but they don't take anything out of board docs. It's still there.
I've been searching, I haven't had any issue.
So anything past 2019 you can find?
Yeah, I just
was
found something from 2016.
Okay, then I'll have to show you. You have to show me. Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, sir. I was a question about the thermostats. What are those $900 in thermostats? Where's that going? Is that part of the bond?
It wouldn't be in our list of bills if it's part of the bond. No, so I can go find out, but I don't know.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Because I noticed there's a couple things on there in thermostats. I was wondering about that. On the Mammoth for the design, I thought we voted to have them do it. It was like $60,000 or $40,000, and then we have another fee.
That's a 20%, I think that's 20% or something of their cost or something, I think.
This is just a payment of that original bid?
Well, the first part is they designed it, so there'll be some other, as the project that gets more, if the board approves the tennis courts, there'll be some additional costs.
So,
But it's in that 665.
do you have the, that's part of the design. So do you
Well,
have the design to show us or
No,
send it to us?
It's not probably part of that 665.
So the design's not done, or, I mean, it went to bid, so the design is done. Have we seen that? Can we look at that, or?
Yeah, I'll bring it to you, yeah.
Okay, great.
That's probably the next board meeting, or what is it? Yeah, yeah.
So this is not part of that amount, did you say, or it is?
No, the 665 is actually just for the constructions and the renovate or restoring the four courts.
Oh, that's a restore.
Was that fences and grandstands too? I mean, the whole
Yeah,
deal?
we
Okay.
fences, this is small little pictures to view between both courts.
Anything else?
Yes, Chris, can you send us, because I don't think we have a Procore invite for Laughlin or the Procore.
Yeah, I'll talk to them. I think you should, you should.
And then I think the grandstand is a separate one too. So you can check that out. The football field, and that's separate from the Hayes High, the Procore.
No, that's part of the bond.
I know it's part of the bond, but is it a separate from the, usually for each project they have a separate one?
Should be part of the case.
Okay, I'll check to see if it's on. Thank you.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed say no.
Passes 7-0.
7-0. Next, contract for electrical service, O'Laughlin Elementary.
Yes, I'd just like to have that, just a discussion why that's not, I know you mentioned it's not part of the bond. Is there a reason why? Because most contracts, most projects, they can, that's part of it, all electrical.
It's us bringing power to the site.
They have to do the same thing for the high school.
Yeah.
And for,
It's on us to get power there.
So we're going to see that of the other buildings too?
None of the other buildings will be conditioned, so no powers aren't there.
Right there. I guess why was that part of the consent agenda and not part of like the discussion? Just, 66,000, I didn't know. That kind of struck me as different too.
It's what we've done at every project. I gave you all the information.
I thought when we approved the one for the high school that it was under one of the discussion items and then we voted on it separately.
I don't know.
But you are discussing it.
Well, I understand there's no other like
You have the
company,
ability to pull it, so
So it's been pulled, yeah,
Yeah.
so you can do what you want.
struck me as weird.
Okay, anything else?
it's just the consent is just to speed things up,
Okay.
because sometimes there's really no need for discussion.
Mr. Park, anything else?
No,
I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the contract for $66,600 for Midwest Energy to provide primary and secondary power upgrades, as well as for the relocation of transformer for facility additions being added at Laughlin Elementary.
Thank you very much. We have a second from Ken. Any more discussion? Hearing no more discussion, we shall vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed?
no.
Is it 6-1, Jess?
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
6-1? Passes 6-1. Next, 5.6, KSA 72-1439, notice to the Kansas legislature for the sale of Lincoln Elementary.
I think he went ahead and discussed pretty much all of that. I just wanted it pulled out so that we could vote on it.
Are you good?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Would you-
No, why?
Why? That's a consent agenda. We could have just done it. We discussed it.
Well, it's right, it's consent agenda, and I didn't want to vote on all the things.
Mr. Park, are you going to, can you make a motion, please? We make a motion to pass?
Come on, dude, this is added like 50.
He has every right, every member has every right to pull whatever they want off the consent agenda. We're wasting time arguing. If he wants to pull it, he has every right to. Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve resolution for KSA 72-1439 to provide notice to the Kansas legislature for the sale of Lincoln Elementary.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do you have both of those, Jess? Okay. All those any more discussion? Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed vote no.
No.
Six one.
5-2.
5-2. Thank you. 5-7, personal transactions.
I have a concern. We have a new position put on there. Are we cutting positions anywhere else that we don't know about? There's no cuts in the elementary. So we're going to have the same amount of staff at the elementary we are, and we're able to we have the money in the budget to add another staff member or two. We're going to add another one in the middle school.
This is part of the conversation that if this enables the middle school to do.
Right.
Yeah. As far as positions that, eliminating positions, there's always possibilities of that, but that's not what this is about. This is, we feel we have everything we need to add this position, and it's important. So adding this position is really for middle school.
I agree with you. I think it is important, and they did a good job explaining it. I'm just wondering about, do we have the money in the budget?
We absolutely have the money.
And we're not taking away from somewhere else, because if we're doing that, this is a budget item that we should be having some more discussion on.
I have a question for Chris and for Ron. Would you guys ever present a personnel transaction and add a new position if we did not have the funds for it?
No.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Do you have any more discussion, Mr. Park?
No, sir.
Okay. We shall vote. All those in favor vote yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no.
7-0.
Passes 7-0. Thank you. Little computer. Okay. Okay, that should take care of all the action and discussion items. Okay, there is a recess into executive session. Is that available down there?
Yeah, it's open.
Okay.
I'll give you my key.
All right, let me try the best not to butcher this one up. All righty. The motion to go into executive session for personal matters for non-elected personnel in order to protect the privacy interest of an identifiable individual. The motion is 7 board members are going down to the, is that training room?
Yeah.
Training room.
Just the board.
Just the boards. We will return at 8:15 with a 5-minute break. So we're going to start our discussion down there at 7:50. There'll be no action taken when we're done. Okay. I need a second, please. It's been seconded. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, no. Passes 7-0.
We haven't gotten it there.
Passes 7-0. Board members, I would bring your laptop if you can, or we're going to share because the information's on there that we need.